Flight Boss, bitch, you know, for sure. You're now listening to the Mind of an Antares Moon, Flight Boss, the Archangel Uriel, and Dolo here to carry out God duties and motherfucking responsibilities. And right now we're going to talk about the importance of modalities. Now, what is modalities? Modalities are smaller realms of realities within force fields. So modalities play out as in elements going through certain processes. So we have cardinal, fixed, mutable. Now, cardinal is something popping into existence. Fixed is something sustaining itself within existence. Mutable is that thing transforming the shape and form of it where it was when it was fixed. Fixed is more like the shape and form of it. You know what I'm saying? Cardinal is when it pops in from the idea. Fixed is like the shape and form of it, the sustaining of it. Mutable is the transforming of it for it to start so it can do that again. So you can see that within all elements. You can see that as in water. You can see that as in fire, air, and earth. Now, modalities is also how certain signs share certain traits. So for an example, you have 4 cardinal signs, 4 immutable signs, 4 fixed signs. So all of them will share certain characteristic traits in their own elemental way, based upon what element that they're supported by, whether it's fire, air, earth, or water. Now, we're going to go a little deeper. When we also want to talk about the modalities and things of that nature. Now, cardinal. Cardinal is the spark. So, when you want to talk about fire, cardinal fire would be like the electricity. It'd be like the spark, the explosion. You know what I'm saying? The spark of the spark. Water will be like the wave. The big super wave that just came. You see what I'm saying? Or hurricane or whatever you want to call it. Cardinal air, I'll be like forced air, pressure air. You see what I'm saying? Like air being received. So air going in a tire, someone doing CPR, something that's doing a one-on-one relating type energy. Air being put in a balloon, something like that, or you know what I'm saying? Air relating one giving and receiving. You know what I'm saying? Cardinal earth, I'll be like the blueprint, drawing out how something looks. See what I'm saying? Now, let's talk about this. When we talk about cardinal earth, that's drawing out the blueprint. That'd be Capricorn. Fixed earth, that's Taurus. That's actually building a building, stabilizing, seeing it through, seeing that blueprint, that structure through, bringing it into a shape and form. You see what I'm saying? Virgo, that's mutable earth. It'll look over it to see if it's perfectly fit to be suitable for a building now. You see what I'm saying? It's all the parameters perfectly matched. And you know what I'm saying? Does it work? Let's see if this works. And it's there to criticize it. It's there to look at the details and see how this works. Virgo perfects it. You see what I'm saying? So Capricorn drew out the blueprint. Taurus builded it. Virgo looked over it to see if everything was cool and ready and set and ready to go. So it took care of all the worries and all the things that can happen. Boom. Get to fire. Fire. Aries, Cardinal, will be initiating the spark, the flame, the lighter, it coming into an existence. Leo is the fixed fire, the shape and form of it. You see what I'm saying? How the fire look, how hot the fire is, the temperature, the realm of reality is in, how it's sustaining. What is it burning? Everybody surrounded it. It's the light, it's the heat. It's the form you can see. You see what I'm saying? Sagittarius, mutable. That's when the fire is scattered, spread out. Other people can sense is heat or light around. You know what I'm saying? So that's wisdom, that's knowledge, that's information. That's a sense of something, of a direction. Give a sense of direction. So this is why Sagittarius have sense of direction and can put into words in ways to give other people a sense of direction. So it can play out in many different ways. They can become gurus teachers and preachers and things of that nature. But it all just falls down to sense of direction. Give someone a sense of direction. You see what I'm saying? But fire itself takes really no shape and form. So fire can take shape and form of whatever's being consciously or in its presence, in its surroundings. Light takes shape and form of what's unseen. So this is why fire burns through reality. So eventually the fire will burn through the back end of that thing. It will fire pierce through reality. So when you put something on fire, what happens? It disappears. It goes up in smoke. It goes back to the actual idea of where it originally came from before it took a shape and form or before it became physical. So fire represents transformation, death, and life. You see what I'm saying? So when you see a fire, this is why Leos may want you to see their fire, want you to see their expression, see their dancing, see their creativity, see their visions. Because fire represents seeing and feeling. You see what I'm saying? So seeing and feeling creates visions. Because your feelings don't have a sight to it. So you give it a place, you give it a look, a person, place, or thing, or a location, or a circumstance, or an expression based upon the realm of reality and the dimension you're in. But it's in your headspace. So it's a vision, it's intuition. And in order for other people to see it, you have to express it and bring it into this realm of reality in the best way you can. You see what I'm saying? So this is why they all do it in their own ways. Aries initiate the thought, and they can be selfish and not care if anybody else see the thought. Is just going to go with that spark because it is not taking a shape or form yet. It's constantly initiating, creating new ways of how to see and feel, because you can feel fire and you can see fire. So that's a vision, and it has a feeling. So that goes in the yin realm. You know what I'm saying? Fire, you feel fire. You can feel a person's passion, expression. You know what I'm saying? You can feel a person's energy. You can feel a person's spirit. You know what I'm saying? And a person who get a hot spirited, that's a person who's passionate. You see what I'm saying? And you can exhaust yourself when you're using too much fire. Exhaust the body that you in by being too passionate about something. You see what I'm saying? In many different ways, shapes, and forms. So now when you know the modalities, you can know how to separate them. Same way with Earth. Capricorn is the, well, hold on, let's go back to fire. Aries, you know what I'm saying? That's cardinal fire. So it's initiating, it's the spark, it's the new idea. So it don't care if anybody else see it because it's really not there yet. Really hasn't taken course. Really hasn't set anything on fire. Has to be around something on fire. So it's constantly initiating, creating new ideas and how to feel things and going in new fields and going on new terrains and new things and doing things that was never done before and may not ever be seen unless it gains some attention. So this is why Aries have to make sure when they do create that spark, they got to make sure it's a big spark. You know what I'm saying? First impressions is everything. You know what I'm saying? So you got to make sure it's a big spark. You know what I'm saying? Because that'll be the explosion that gained a lot of attention. Then all the things that catch on fire from that explosion could take on the shapes and forms. AKA, these people can carry out the duties and obligations of that idea. But as long as that you set the platform of what was the true idea, was truly behind the reality, then the people that's in the reality could take all the shapes and forms and you know what I'm saying, keep things going while you keep continuing to initiate. This is why they say Aries may need to they set the idea, but they need others to keep the thing going. You see what I'm saying? And then with Leo is the shape and form. So it's like, look at me. This is how it looks. This is how the behind the scenes, behind the reality looks in your face in this reality. So that's Leo, the campfire, or the fire on the stove, or the fire that's the oven that's keeping the food cooked and getting all the way, seeing the thing all the way through and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, boom, this is how the behind the scenes realm look. This is how all that shit look. This is what Aries was talking about. Or no, this is my version of it because I'm here. You know what I'm saying? This is not an illusion. I'm in front of y'all doing all this. You know what I'm saying? That could play out in many different shapes and forms. But you're going to be center stage in some way, shape, or form in your life. You know what I'm saying? When we say center stage, that doesn't always deal with being on a stage. Being center stage is you can just be the You could be the breadwinner in the household. You could be the center stage of a conversation. You could be the center stage of a circumstance that happened. You could be the root cause of something that happened. You know what I'm saying? You could gain a lot of attention. See what I'm saying? This could go a lot of different ways. So this is why they say Leos may get attention seeking. See, where Aries may be selfish, Leos is self-centered. So a Leo, it could play out in selfish ways at times where they may not care what you're doing. They only care about what they're doing. But the only reason it becomes self-centeredness is because they want you to care what they're doing also. See, Aries is just plain selfish. They don't really care. They're gonna do what they do, and they don't care if they get attention for it or not. And sometimes that's what makes them get attention. So it makes them look like they super aggressive or cocky or something like that. Now it's just that they comfortable because they was gonna do that shit anyway. You know what I'm saying? Leos, a lot of times they more relatable because a lot of times they won't do shit that other people just won't do for the sake of wanting to show you that they can do what you can do better than you can do it. You know what I'm saying? They like, nah, this is how it actually looks. Whatever you're trying to do, I'm from that actual realm. This is how it actually looks. You know what I'm saying? So this is how Leos gain attention, and this is how they things of that nature because they know how to the fire. They know how to take shape and form of what's ever in the dark. And what's in the dark? Emotions and feelings, vibrations. So when people got a certain vibration and a certain way of they expressing themselves, for an example, say a Leo's going to get a job, right? This certain job is required a certain way, shape, and form, right? When you go in there, you already feel the energy vibrations as a Leo. You know how to take shape and form of the vibration of that job. You know how to act in the appearance of how you're supposed to act in that job, how everybody else is acting, and how to get the job done. So not only have you took the shape and form of being relatable with everybody because you kind of already got the sense of how everybody get down with each other, but also you took the shape and form of getting the job done right because you know how this job is orchestrated. You know what I'm saying? Leos have a knack of taking the shape and form. They know how to take the shape and form in this reality. Aries may not always want to take the shape and form in this reality because they constantly trying to create new realities. Now, Sagittarius has both of these aspects. So a lot of times they have to get up off their ass and do it and not procrastinate. Because when you get scattered fire is like heat and warmness. So it might not be hot enough to catch something else on fire, but at the same time, it's just hot enough, but it's hot enough to spark new ideas and things of that nature to a small degree. So the small degree may not catch flame in this reality, but it's able to be seen. So that plays out in ways of you being able to see somebody's potential. This is why you look at a Sagittarius, you can see they got potential, or you can see that they got wisdom and knowledge, or they're consciously aware. So a lot of times they may not have too much wisdom for their own good because they already done sized up an experience and talked themselves out of not doing that experience based upon their own assumption of what's going to happen or not. And what they have to understand is the whole point is to experience. So Sagittarius a lot of times have to learn to get hot enough to catch things on fire. Or sometimes they have to learn enough to be able to be hot enough to sustain enough heat that it just don't be too scattered. Because the scatteredness that also represents into energies of escaping. Because when you see when you catch something on fire, boom, this is the Aries part of it. Boom, that's the Aries part of it, right? So boom, that spark a new idea. That's a new idea or something like that. Now the flame of it is Leo. Now what's about to be burning is Leo. Because now the shape and form, you can see the idea of it in its reality and it's sustaining itself. So it's there and it's keeping it up so you can see it long enough for it to get the praise and take the prideship of it and be appreciated for that shape. Now, the scatteredness, you see the scatteredness? That's Sagittarius. So it'll play out in a lot of ways of escaping a little bit because you see that's like almost fire escaping. It's escaping back to the other realm it was in. So it'll play out in a lot of Sagittarius lives like they can't be tied down in relationships or tied down in certain religions or tied down in certain spiritualities or tied down in certain theologies. They have a form of, their form of flame is escaping. So they may even escape with drugs and shit like that. Lows is some form of escape in their life, and they can have a finish line where when they reach that finish line, they can feel like, okay, I got away this time. They'll be good. If you put them in if you're a person you're in a relationship with a Sagittarius and you put them in a circumstance or situation where they have to feel like they can't escape something, it could be a certain way you carry yourself, or certain obligations you put on the relationship. If that part of it make them feel like they can't escape or something, or it's locked in or something like that, slowly but surely you're gonna start seeing that flame escape the windows of that relationship. You see what I'm saying? So it's almost like Cardinal is the initiating. Fixed is the up is the bringing of it, the shape and form of it, and mutable is the fluid of it. So cardinal will be the gas, fixed to be the solid, mutable will be the fluid. So cardinal signs bring in the idea, fixed signs withhold an idea, and mutable signs look at the collective idea and come to a broad perspective of the overall idea. Now, remind you, each idea can be different. So that don't mean just because you're fire or earth that you got the same ideas. So, but one is better than the other. No, all y'all got your own separate ideas. It's just the way y'all going about it. One, one go about it in a way of initiating it and creating a new version of it. One go about it as taking was there already and creating and taking shape and form of that in their own way, and one do it in a broad perspective way and see how it all works and try to play parts of all of it at times, or come to a conclusion where it could be one of all these things. So this is how mutable signs end up being jack of all trades and things. Gemini's, y'all know about that. Now going back to the earth, Capricorn. Capricorn is they initiate and create the shape and form of something. So they're like, nah, this is how something should be. So this is why it'll play out in many different Capricorns' lives as being boss-like, or acting too bossy at times, or acting too parenting at times, or acting too restrictive, because you already organized and build the structure in your head of how something should be. So when you don't see something being that way, you feel like can't nobody do that shape or form better than you can. This is why a lot of times you don't like to place your responsibility on others, and then you become the crutch for others a lot of times, because you see a shape and form. It's basically you seeing a shape and form and you wanting to do that shape and form the way you drew it out in your head. So it'll play out in your life as you getting the job done, or you taking a point A to point B conclusion to get something done, or you climbing a ladder, or you reaching a certain status, or you being seen a certain way, or you being goal orientated, or you being stingy at times, and you being bossy because you only see something your way. So you see that structure being taken away, shape, and form. And when you see somebody else come and try to add too much shapeless forms, aka fire and water, and then you see somebody come trying to blow things away and make the porch lean over and stuff like that, aka air. You like, oh no, it's messing up the structure. Y'all not doing this right. Y'all acting out of emotions and thoughts and feelings. Nah, we got to think about reality. See what I'm saying? So then when you get to Taurus, Taurus is the fixed earth. So they built the actual building. They built the blueprint. So whatever they're doing, they stay stuck on it until and they see it through. And they don't budge or move until it's safe or it's comfortable enough to move to the next place or next space and add on parameter to things. So this is why Tauruses like to feel comfortable. It'll play out in a Taurus life as comfortability, like to be nurtured, like to relax, but also work orientated, like material, because it's in material and it likes to build on things, and it likes to build on relationships, it likes to build bonds, it likes to build situations, foundations. It likes to build bridges. It likes to build circumstances that it can sit in. You know what I'm saying? So that's like the building being sustained. So this is why Tauruses are reliable. They're loyal. They're sustainable. You see what I'm saying? And they're fixated. They stay with you. They're like rocks, a rock in one place. So they're hard to move, hard to budge. So it'll play out in a Taurus life as you can't change their ideas because Earth is thinking and being practical. You see what I'm saying? So they're like the yin version of the left brain. They think and go practical. You know what I'm saying? Fire and water. Fire is the yang of the right brain. Fire and water is the yin of the right brain. You know what I'm saying? Fire is the yang. Fire is the yang of the right brain. Water is the yin of the right brain. Air is the yang of the left brain. Earth is the yin of the left brain. And we know yin is going within, and we know which is going within, and we know uh external is yang, that's going without and expressing it on the external in some type of way. You see what I'm saying? So you can go ahead and flip flop those in many different ways, and and figure out what water, fire, air, and earth do in that way. And earth, you know what I'm saying? Taurus stay practical, they stay fixated, so they're stable. And a lot of times, this is why you can lean on them. And a lot of times, they may go through a lot of situations in their life where they may have not had a foundation. So that's how they learned in their life to be stable in one spot to create one. And they stay there until it's safe to move. Um, and then when we get to Virgo is mutable Earth. So that likes to see how it's perfected. So this is why and see if this actually work or not. So this is why it'll play out in a Virgo's life. They like to criticize themselves and others a lot of times. They like to look at the details. They like to uh, think about schedule and things on a routine. So if a work or having something to work on or job or health, if that's something that's dealing with routine and day-to-day tasks, then they all for it. You know what I'm saying? So this what makes them look at the look at schedule and look at tasks, because when the building is being built, right? That's a routine. The building got to get built, so that's a schedule and that's a task. So this is why, you know what I'm saying, Virgos will be on you about health, or be on you about getting yourself together or taking care of yourself, and things of that nature, because they want you to stay on task. Yo, wake up, motherfucker, wake up. We in reality. You know what I'm saying? Earth signs is dealing with reality. So 9 times out of 10, the things that they care about is going to be based upon reality, based upon your physical, your situation. You know what I'm saying? What's making sense? What's practical? What's practically going on with you? You know what I'm saying? Not the way you feeling and your emotions and things, but is you really taking care of yourself? How you situated? You know what I'm saying? Do you need some help in some way, shape, or form? Do I need to be an asset, or am I acting as a liability right now? You know what I'm saying? So this is how Virgos they constructing and looking at. So this is why they worry and be nervous a lot of times, because they're going through the building to see if the build, like, see, look, if Capricorn drew out the blueprint, Taurus built the building, Virgo is the one walking through the floors and shit and making sure it's everything all right. You know what I'm saying? So the floor might be shaky on one floor. This window might be cracked a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So it'll play out in the Virgo's life as worry a lot of times, or caring, or being over caring, but caring to the wrong things, because the world is bigger than reality, and that's what Earth signs have to realize. But since we're in Earth, where we're in Taurus Gaia, this is a planet, this is a shapeless, formless, odorless, non-flammable gas that's big to become a big light source right now, that's carrying a lot of Earth energy. It traveled through a lot of locations in space, in the astral realm, that it actually accumulated a lot of the Earth element. So right here on this Earth, you could say a lot of on this planet, you could say whoever carrying a lot of Earth element, and carrying a lot of Earth energy, kind of rule this planet, because this planet is ruled by a lot of more earth than water, than like even the physical aspect. When you look at science and talk about the physical water, that's still physicality. So that's an earth element. You know what I'm saying? The physical representation you seeing of water, that's, you only seeing the physicality of it because it's being represented by the earth element. See, when we talk about fire, earth, water, air, I'm talking about it as elemental. Before you see the physicality of it, before you feel the wind blowing, saying before you see fire burn your hand, before you see water splash you, saying before you can walk on earth. You know what I'm saying? These are the physical manifestations of it. And for something to be physical in general, I'm talking about the esoteric realm of the elements. That's the earth element in general. The fire element deals more with electricity and fire. The water element deals more with vibrations and emotions and feelings. You see what I'm saying? The air element deals more with communication, thinking, and analyzing. You see, and the earth element deals more with structure, practicality, and what makes sense, and what makes sense out of the reality of the field that we in. So how can we construct the shapes and forms out of the shapeless, formless, odorless gas we in? You know what I'm saying? That's what earth element represents. This is what astrologers be talking about. You see what I'm saying? So this is why we can understand people's personalities and things of that nature. So when you talk about Earth, then that's why Virgos may play out worry and being cautious at times, but a lot of times they just may worry and be cautious about the wrong thing, because we know that the planet we on don't just consist fully of the earth element. It still have some water, fire, air elements. So you have to think about that sometimes, and ideas, and fire. Fire is like faith and spirit sometimes. Ideas is like not being too practical and trying to make reality out of all your ideas, because ideas, that's correlated to air. Air has no shape and form, but it likes to take shape and form of the earth because it's blowing everywhere. You know what I'm saying? So it's taking all the shapes and forms. So it's like to analyze. But air don't go outside of earth, because you can't breathe outside of earth. Only fire go outside of there. Fire, and then water to a certain extent. You see what I'm saying? So this is why flight boss, I'm a fire sign, so I fly in the astral realm. You know what I'm saying? I don't want nobody exploding. You know what I'm saying? But this is why a lot of times air signs like to put ideas together because they just reach the surface. They're like, okay, I'm there. I could analyze these things and I can analyze all these things I'm consuming too, which I'm in, which is the earth element, which is this planet right now. So when we talk about analyzing, and this is why the mutable earth sign likes to analyze also and construct all the many different shapes, the little and the big shapes and forms. So this is mutable. It's more fluid. It's the little rocks flowing over the water and shit. So Virgos try not to be walking on Pisces hearts and things of that nature. But for the most part, it's like water, little rocks skipping on a puddle, accumulates. Think about you seeing a big mountain or a big rock. But the closer you get, you see that it took many different little rocks and many different little things to put the whole mountain together. I mean, this is what Virgos can see. So it'll play out in a Virgo's life as them being able to see details and being able to see the little things in the whole of something. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times they can get overcritical because if they see that little brick is loose, and if that little brick was to fall off, then that can kind of endanger the whole building itself. So a Virgo will get too critical into that, and a Virgo will be around a Taurus or Capricorn or fire, water, or air sign, and they'll be looking at it like, man, look, man, if that little brick ain't gonna do nothing, it's gonna be all right. And the Virgo like, nah, man, I already know if this building leave off, if this brick fall off, you know what I'm saying, the whole building will fall. Now, if the brick fall off, the building may or may not fall. But all the energy that the Virgo put in it, that it will fall, if it will fall, see that sometimes is seen as negative to others. But to the Virgo, it's not negative. It's just being prepared, motherfucker. It's like, motherfucker, we gotta be prepared, motherfucker. We can't go on every side of the town if your motherfucking ass ain't got no gas. Shit. So it learns to give and receive it and everything. But now talking about the air. Air is like, you know what I'm saying? Air represents communication thinking. So you can look at it like this. Libra is the forcing of the air. So the air being initiating you in something. You can almost say relating to the first time air came here. You know what I'm saying? The cardinal air, the spark of air, the spark of oxygen, the first breath. So when you was born, what you did, you received, and what was the next thing? You blew out. So that was the first relativeness you did. So that plays out in all ways, shapes, and forms of Libra's understanding or always like relationships or relating in some type of way. And since relating foundation is based upon air itself, this is why it plays out through Libra's lives as relating ways of communicating and relating communication and relating being social and relating in some type of way. You know what I'm saying? And that's going to trickle down into compromising. You know what I'm saying? Sharing. You know what I'm saying? To the point that marriage doesn't always deal with the way society deals with marriage. You can marriage a bond with someone. You know what I'm saying? So even if you with that person or not, y'all had a marriage between each other. Y'all had a bond. So things won't end on bad notes. So this would even play out in Libra's lives as also that they have the ability to always go back to their exes better than other signs. These are the signs that can get into a relationship with other people and still get back and because some signs can't do that. Some signs just can't fuck with somebody again. Like that's it. Like Scorpios, Aries, even Virgos to a certain degree. Just can't fuck with somebody again. But a lot of Virgos be having Mercury in Libra. You know what I'm saying? A lot of Virgos be having Venus in Libra. You know what I'm saying? So that's another thing. That'd be another story sometimes. And this will make Virgos attract relationships that they don't need to be in. They attract harmful relationships, either emotionally or physically. They attract these things because especially even Aries, Scorpios, and Virgos, because Venus don't like to be in none of those places. So just a person with a sun sign or any sign in Aries, Scorpio, or Virgo, just the basic archetype of how they're constructed. They lack love, they lack appreciation, they lack value. So a lot of times they replace that with doing that with themselves or overextending that to others and not knowing the right way of how to bounce relativity to others. You know what I'm saying? But Virgos get helped at times if they have a Mercury in Libra or if they have a Venus in Libra. You know what I'm saying? Or sometimes fucking they Venus being in Leo because they know how to get attention. But that's more manipulative though, because they get attention for their desires or for their expressions and shit. But as far as air, now look at air like Libra is this what makes them relative and relatable and things of that nature. And one to be fair. That's a share of air. You can breathe in more air than you can breathe out. So in Libra's lives, that play out as being fair, being balanced. So they may experience a lot of things in their lives. They may experience a lot of unbalancedness as their upbringing because that's their air element trying to force them to take shape and form of balance in some way, shape, or form in their life eventually. You see what I'm saying? Now, this is why they like things to be in harmony. So when someone is acting too much of this or too much of that, or someone is taking too much of this portion of the relationship or taking this much, this one Libra to jump in. A Libra would jump in and fight for someone else's rights before their own rights, just for the sake of seeing the unbalance in something. And this is how they balance themselves also. So a lot of times to others, they may seem unbalanced. They may seem talkative. They talk too much. Or they may seem as not clearly knowing what they want to do. But at times, that's the situation that they go through, and that is what they doing. That is how they balance themselves. So they more balanced than you, whether you know it or not. That's how they see the imbalance in you, based upon their playing mind game to show you how reckless and imbalanced they are, and based upon your actions, that's how they balance themselves. So because they related something with you, now they know how to build a relationship with you. They know how to relate with you now, and they know how to keep you in that give and receive type of air structure now. You see what I'm saying? It goes deep. It goes deep. Now, Aquarius. Aquarius is more like the air in all the air, but it's its own secluded air. So that's like an air balloon. You know what I'm saying? So you looking at an air balloon. Yeah, it's air in that air. It's the same air that's everywhere else that's in that air, but they got a color on it now. It's taking its own direction. You know what I'm saying? You can look at it. So it plays out in a lot of Aquarius's lives as them being unique and original. Them taking their own path. The way they communicate and think, they think in their own way. Because air is dealing with thinking and communicating. And when you see a balloon in the air, you know what I'm saying, just blowing, but you can look at the balloon, that's someone thinking and communicating in their own way, going in their own route. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times it plays out in Aquarius' lives as them being rebellious or changing or opposing against the way that the air is flowing. You know what I'm saying? So they don't go with the flow of the air. They don't communicate and analyze. They don't talk about what everybody else is talking about. So this is why Aquarius it'll play out in their lives as them coming up with quirky, like little weird metaphors and things that may not appear to make sense, but it do make sense. It's just they had their own unique and original way of thinking and communicating about that. It's like it's a sustainable air. It's the air that's not scattered everywhere. It's its own secluded air, its own space. So Aquarius is like to think in their own space, their own mind space. So a lot of times they think far out. So when you look at a balloon, an air balloon, or you in a hot air balloon or whatever, it's going way far out in its own direction though. You know what I'm saying? So it's thinking and analyzing about reality in its own way. And Aquarius is ruled by Saturn and Uranus. So Saturn is the planet of reality, how one gains structure in their life, whether that's through a person, place, or thing, or a job or whatever. And it's where one place and receives boundaries and restrictions and limits. Because Saturn has a ring around it. So if you see, you can you know where your limits at for yourself, for others, and where you don't want others to cross the line. But also, this is where you're going to receive boundaries and restrictions and limits also, or where you learn that at. You know what I'm saying? And where your parameter is going to be at. So it's like your time and things of that nature. So when you talk about Aquarius, this is what they're doing in the same type of mechanism. You know what I'm saying? They're thinking, analyzing with their own uniqueness and originality, but based upon the things that's in reality, based upon a structure, a shape, or form. Because when you look at a balloon is constructed from a reality, right? We made a balloon, so we made a balloon capable to contain air. You know what I'm saying? So, boom. It'll play out in Aquarius lives as them having all these far out thoughts, but their own secluded, unique air thoughts, communications, and ideas about what we're in. You see what I'm saying? What we're in. So this is what make Aquarius is scientific, dealing with technology, technical, rational, logical, but logical and rational about shit that's irrational and shit that's not logical. You know what I'm saying? So this is what makes them philosophers, scientists, and things of that nature, and far out thinkers. Now, when you get to Gemini, Gemini is mutable air. So this is the fluid. So this is the air everywhere. So Gemini's taking the shapes and forms of all the realities. So a lot of times this play out in their head as they could take this shape and form and they could take this shape and form. So a lot of times when it plays out, say they got a friend or something like that. So they got two ways to come at this friend. So they can play devil's advocate, or they can take what their friend talking about and communicate it with someone else, just based upon wanting to know another shape and form of the information that they just received, aka the air. So a lot of times they're not being two-faced, or at least they're not trying to be. They're just subconsciously trying to see another shape and form of that same air energy in some other capacity, and it may play out in a person who got a lot of Gemini in their chart. It may play out in the ways, shapes, and forms of the people, places, and things and the locations that they're in. So if you're in a location surrounded by people, places, and things that like to gossip, then if you gain information about someone, then you're gonna want to subconsciously, the air in you just automatically want to see where else is that air energy taking shape and form at. So you may talk about that shape and form, how you received it in the first place as air. You may talk about that information to someone else and see how it takes shape and form from their perspective. You may talk about that with someone, and then this makes your air scattered. This makes you wide range. So you know how to talk. You know how to communicate. You know how to get into a lot of different conversations, even if you know about the conversation or not. So this is how that kind of energy will play out in Gemini's lives. This is what makes Geminis in and everywhere. You know what I'm saying? They know how to take the shape and form of their environment. You know what I'm saying? So, but they care more about it based upon the thought. So they take broad perspective based upon the conclusion of how this shape and form is being related to. Because air is relationship in general. Air is relating in general. So all air signs deal with relationships. This Libra deals with it heavier than others because it's more on a one-on-one tip. You know what I'm saying? Aquarius deal with relating on their own way. You know what I'm saying? Because it's fixated. Gemini can relate in all ways. So this makes them shapeshifters. This makes them sneaky. This makes them two-faced. But it's not that though. This makes them shapeshifters. That's it. It's just subconsciously, if that shapeshifting energy plays out in a certain location, and that location is surrounded by people, places, and things that have certain energy force fields that you can take the shape and form of a sneaky motherfucker because of what takes place in there that creates the outlook of a sneaky motherfucker and what you have to do to be a sneaky motherfucker. Then hey, Geminis can play that part better than any motherfucking body. You know what I'm saying? That's where the word snake come from. But you know what I'm saying? It just goes deep. You know, so you got to really think about, really dive into the elements, and you'll start seeing how this shit be playing out. And you can start seeing shit from a mile of motherfucking way. But also, you know what I'm saying, with Gemini is scattered. This is what makes them the jack of all trades. Because scattered air is everywhere. So it's taking shapes and form of everything it's blowing in. So this could play out in Gemini's lives as taking the jack of all trades, being very curious, wanting to learn everything, learn information. You know what I'm saying? May even play out in being a cheater. You know what I'm saying? Because you want to learn this person's thoughts, but you want to also not be contained, because air can't be contained. So anytime you try to contain an air sign, you can forget it. You know what I'm saying? Libras just want to do that. So you lucky. You know what I'm saying? If you were a Libra, that's where the word lucky come from. You were a Libra, because they just want to relate to you. But the moment that get dried up, they relate to someone else in a moment too. Well, all air signs in general got that escape energy. You ain't containing no air for that much long. You're not keeping too much air in that motherfucking jar. I don't care how much earth that around that shit. So earth signs, be careful trying to trap an air sign, aka, and then fire sign. I don't care how much color and passion and feeling you can't touch it, and passionate and you get, and color and idea you give that shit. Eventually, air don't want to be known for something. Don't want to be seen as an expression. Don't want to look like that type of shape and form. It don't want to be seen a lot of times. For an example, fire don't take a shape and form, but you can see it. So you can see something being fluid. So that play out as expression. You can see the expression. You can see somebody's inner world being expressed on the outer world. That's expression. Air sign, that's an idea. That's all good from sometimes, but sometimes air signs just want to be dropped. Give you that certain curious look. So that's detaching itself not blowing the fire or suppressing the fire and making the fire scatter. That's separating from the fire, or blowing the fire out and just becoming thin air again. Something you don't know what it is again. AKA, it'll play out in an air life as an air sign life as you don't know what it's thinking. It's not giving you an expression. So it's giving you pure thought, pure logical. So don't be coming with no dumbass expressions and over expressing yourself, or too much emotions, aka water, or too much practicality, aka, or too much structure, aka earth, or too much expression and too much visualization of shit that's not even really there. It just appear to be there and trying to be here, but it's really to dissipate, aka fire. You know what I'm saying? And need fuel and gas to keep going. You know what I'm saying? This is how air thinks. So subconsciously it'll play out through a Gemini or another air sign, but mainly Gemini, as thinking and analyzing how this shape and form is even constructing itself. Oh, you fire and you do this? Oh, I can do that shit too. I'm fast too. You know what I'm saying? I'll go with the breeze too. But I can actually think about my actions. I can actually think about how I look. I can actually put myself in other people's minds and see how I'm looking. So a lot of times they look at a fire sign like, you look crazy. I mean, I understand it. That's a good idea, but you're looking crazy because fire is taking the shape and color of the air. It's taking the shape and color form of it being here. And they got an energy to it. The force you can be felt. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, oh man, you put too much feelings and shit. You in your feelings and you looking crazy. An air sign can say that to a fire sign. And we talk about mainly Gemini right now. Then when we talk about Earth, oh, you too practical, you too sturdy, you too stable. An air sign can look at an earth sign like, oh, you too fixated, you don't move, you don't budge, we can't move, you stuck in one spot, we can't make no money, like that. And an earth sign will be looking at it like, nah, we gotta save. Air sign be like, nah. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I can think it makes sense, but we gotta make it move. Let's move on that. Let's take action on that. Let's not just sit here and think about it until it fully is perfect. You'll never know if it work or not unless we put it into action first. We don't know the actual shape and form of the take. This is how air thinking. So it'll play out through air communicating with the earth like, okay, I'm I'm trying to just give you thoughts and ideas so you can move this business or you can move this structure so it don't be fixated or stuck in one spot. And that's where the earth and air could clash. The earth and water, they clash like, you know what I'm saying? The water takes shape and form of everything, but it has to settle in. It has to be dense. So it's added. It's added. A bunch of molecules in something is added. So it's heavy. So it's emotions and feelings. So right here, air like to be light. So even though it's air in water, it's oxygen and hydrogen come together as water. So it's air in water. So, you know, air could think about the emotions and feelings. They can help you with your emotions and feelings because they're not truly in it. They just can perceive it because they are part of it, but they're not condensed in it. So they got emotions and feelings, but they know how, they put it in a box. They think about it, see if it makes sense. So they can put your make your feelings make sense. So this will make air signs psychologists and things of that nature. Because to a water sign, a lot of times they make it chaotic to the point that emotions and feelings don't allow them to think. All the other particles overdrown the oxygen. So it don't allow, it's a small portion of thinking, but the rest of it is just vibrations and emotions and feelings and constantly needing to take shape and form and settle in something. You know what I'm saying? So this could seem reckless and chaotic. So when the air and water get together, it could cause hurricanes and tornadoes. So y'all could be careful too, because that'll play out in the air and water signs relationship as the air sign talk too much, got too many ideas, or thinking they can be here and here and there and all the time. And the water like to be settled, situated. And once it's too chaotic, it's like it creates circumstances and situations to try to attach that air. So that's like, AKA, create hurricane situations and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? And the air could create tornado type situations. So that's volatile. So you have to know how to balance these out so the waters can be calm, cool, and collected. But that's how Gemini can play with all the scattered airness and things of that nature. Being able to put themselves in other people's minds to the point that they lose themselves in the other people's minds at times. To the point that they forget shit in their own reality and may lose things at times. You know what I'm saying? Forget things at times and take on shapes and forms that precede them, and then add on so many ideas to the point that they become that shape and form, to the point that they think they created that idea. So y'all gotta make sure y'all ain't doing that also. Now, also, and then let's get to the water. Now, water is the emotions and the feelings. You know what I'm saying? So, now water takes shapes and forms. So cardinal water. Let's start with Cancer. That's the initial pushing in the wave. So this is it. So the wave is the spark. We know cardinal is the spark. So Cardinal is the spark. Fixed will be the ice, because that's the water being froze in one and sustaining itself in one spot. So that's ice. And then Scorpio being fixed water, and then all Scorpio energy that's like a glacier or something being dragged down into the deep. Pisces is the collective, the whole ocean. So it's the ocean being settled. So this is why Pisces go with the flow. But let's start with Cancer. Cancer is the initial of the wave, the initial of the river being created, the river coming in, a splashing of a new water coming into a new puddle, you know what I'm saying, or a new landmass, new waves, you know what I'm saying. So this will play out in a Cancer life as being moody, because look, your emotions and feelings. If it's going in waves, a lot of times that's you moody, because you know what I'm saying. You trying to you being overwhelmed by thoughts, aka when you see a wave, that's air being pushed around. So you're being overwhelmed by thoughts and communications. So you may be overwhelmed by what other people talking bullshit around you, or your own thoughts. Then the heat of it, or the temperature of it, boom, that's the fire of it. So that's how hot of it, or how cool down these emotions and feelings is being pushed around. If it's cool, that means you're being pushed around in loving matters or relating matters, and you're being moody in those matters. Or if it's hot, that means you're being moody in volatile matters and high energetic matters and things of that nature. And splashes and stuff. This is why you can correlate. There's a lot of waves that go on at beaches, because there's a lot of people splashing beaches because it's summertime and things. But that's going to a different shit. You know what I'm saying? Cool waves is in the cold time. It's time for it to settle. It might even freeze over. Getting into the cold period of the time, which is Scorpio. But I don't want to get too deep. Of the transitions, but we in Cancer right now. You know what I'm saying? The ocean waves splash. You know what I'm saying? Now but through all these situations, this is why you can handle your emotions and feelings a lot better than others. You know what I'm saying? This is why you make other people feel home. You make other people feel nurtured when they're around you, because you have a sense of care, because all that care that you have went through to make you care about your own emotions and feelings. When people are around you, they have a sense of home, familiarity, care, someone who cares, something like that. So you just naturally draw people in and then you have to be careful, because Cancers, you will draw a lot of people in your life that don't think. You'll draw a bunch of emotionally chaotic people in your life, and then they think you're supposed to take that slack because you already carry that energy. So they think you're supposed to already understand when they do crazy shit, and that'll go down into relationships and things, and then they make you even play this out. So you have to be careful, Cancers, that you don't manifest no crazies in your life, because you got that power to manifest a lot of crazy people who they go through a lot of situations and circumstances that they know they're supposed to be more logical in their life, and they know they're supposed to think. They'll meet you, and for some reason they feel like they don't need to think no more, and you supposed to understand they can always run to you, or you could be in a relationship with them, and they be pushing limits and boundaries because they think you were supposed to automatically understand, and they think you always going to be there. They think you always going to care in some type of way. You know what I'm saying? Nah, fuck all that. You know what I'm saying? Cancers, y'all can't stay in that routine and rotation. But for the most part, this will make y'all but going through those situations is why you got the aura and the energy of that in general. And people like coming to y'all to feel comfortable, whether they call y'all or come to y'all house or whatever, want y'all to cook for them or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It goes deep. Shit goes deep. I'm saying, for real. Now, when you talk about also it's the wave, and it's how the waters look as waves. So a lot of times this will make Cancers like to take shape and form of emotions and feelings, because water is emotions and feelings, and when you see waves, that's shapes and forms being took within the emotions and feelings. You know what I'm saying? So Cancers, they like to uplift people. They like to be comedians at times. They like to care for certain things. They like to care for certain shapes and forms. So no, not to be too materialistic, because you can care for certain shapes and forms, and you know things is fluid. You know you don't take no actual shape and form unless you're in something. So anytime a Cancer get involved with something, they know how to take the shape and form of that. So this would make them bossy, or a lot of times, but this would make them business orientated. They know how to get to the top of something because they know how to immediately take the shape and form and initiate the waves in that shape and form. So they become the pioneers in that shape and form, aka in that business or that realm of reality or whatever they're trying to do, or at that job. they become the emotion, they become the vibration of that job. You know what I'm saying? To the point that anybody who come in that job after them have to take on that vibration. Or you're fucking up the system and you have to get out and go into another shape and form that relates to something else. Cause you come in here fucking up the vibe, fucking up people's vibes and shit, people gonna get moody. You know what I'm saying? And that crab gonna come out. Now when we get to Scorpio, Scorpio is like ice now. It's fixed water. So we know fix is being fixated, sustaining, withholding something. So when you look at water withholding, it's withholding the temperature. So we know the colder something is, it burns too. So this is why, but also the sustaining of water is ice. So when we talk about Scorpios, it's ice. So it'll play out through a Scorpio life as holding on to certain emotions and feelings. So if it's bad emotions and feelings, you could hold on to grudges and things of that nature, and down moments and down experiences. And we know in this realm of reality we in, you have the power of manifesting. So if you are in a geographical location and you surrounded around people, places, and locations, people, places, and things that's already in a low vibration, then guess what? As a Scorpio, you manifesting more of that than the people that you even around. So you experiencing more shit than they, even to the point that you may be experiencing the same thing somebody else experiencing, but you're taking it way deeper than somebody else. To the point you gotta brood and go deep down in the water, a big glacier, going too deep to the point you get foggy down there. Can't see reality right. Reality has no shape and form. So you get lost in your own emotions to the point that you have to deal with them through yourself. Have to deal with your chaotic transformation situations with yourself. So this could play out as you being nasty. You know what I'm saying? You being over sexual. You like to do a lot of things behind closed doors. But you understanding your own emotions and feelings to the point you get lost in your own emotions and feelings to the point you only desire your own emotions and feelings. So you would absorb and be an emotional vampire to other people, places, and things in order for you to get what you desire. So you would use somebody else what they value, or use someone else's talent in order for you to get what you desire out of it. So make sure you're not being manipulative, but you can use all that passion and strength for your own desires and your own transformators. Don't hold in what you trying to do. You know what I'm saying? Express what you're trying to do, and you will learn that vulnerability, because that vulnerability, I know it can feel hurtful. It can feel like you're gonna die, especially when someone come into your life and you let a little bit of peace, a little bit of your peace go. You open yourself up a little bit, and then once that person leave, damn, you feel like they done took all. You feel vulnerable as hell. You feel naked, don't you? You feel naked. God damn. So as a Scorpio, look, as ice, you're here to transform. This is why you're ruled by Mars and Pluto, because you have to activate Mars and Pluto in your life in some way, shape, or form, because the more you activate Mars and Pluto, you learn how to transform. This is why it's important for you to at least have some type of understanding of an Aries in your life or Pisces in your life. Because Cancers, y'all can clash. Because but y'all can get along too. It's just y'all have to get on each other's vibration levels. Because as a wave, that'll force you to melt in a way that you might not want to melt. You might not want to melt that fast. You see what I'm saying? AKA transform. So that's like a Cancer trying to make you do things in their way. And as ice, that's fixated. It's like, hold on. Got my own way of doing things. I'll check you out later. So long as y'all can get on y'all same vibrational page, y'all can understand. But as far as Aries and Pisces, see Aries shares see Pluto is exalted in Aries also, but y'all share the Mars nature. Mars is fiery. So Aries know how to take the shape and form of your ice. So you know how to melt in the way that they melt. AKA Aries is like the spark, the electricity. So boom, that's the fight. So say something just got hot, right? You can melt. You like to melt in that way because you're like, woo, this is a whole new way to melt. This is some shit I ain't never been before. So it'll play in a Scorpio life as when you say you get melted initially, like an explosion. Someone just poured a gang of hot water in a cup of ice or something like that. That's like a sense of your life of danger, or a sense of melting or experiencing an emotion and feeling that you haven't experienced before. So you could think about the depth. That's like a new depth of something. That's like non-reality. You love being in non-reality. You see what I'm saying? Right there. Like that's like boom. That's almost like you evaporating. You taking the shape and form of a ghost, of fire, of flame, of that snake, becoming a phoenix. You know what I'm saying? Because when you see fire being melted, its steam evaporate. Boom, you get to fly. Go into the fiery world. Excuse me. You know what I'm saying? And be able to see and go into space. And be in the astral realm with your emotions and feelings being able to sustain it and shit. And because you subconsciously you've been sustaining because you've been ice here. So when you get transformed in that way, boom, that's like getting forced in a dangerous situation or having to think real fast into an experience or wanting to experience what you haven't experienced before. So this will play out in Scorpio lives as driving real fast. You know what I'm saying? Or doing things they haven't done before, or doing sexual positions that haven't been done before, or getting into new territories of life with their emotions and feelings. You know what I'm saying? And or trying to reach a parameter of boundaries in their relationship, seeing how far they can go, how far they can cheat, or how long they can keep something sacred, or how long they can, you know what I'm saying? Things of that nature. So with a Pisces, and then so Aries, you have to be careful because going through those type of transformations also take you to volatile situations. So Aries could become an enemy, or y'all could, or both of y'all end up in a bunch of dangerous situations together, or just doing us, or just experiencing unnecessary shit together for no reason. You know what I'm saying? Or if you're in a relationship as a Scorpio and an Aries with each other, you know what I'm saying? It can play out as a situation where you guys could do friendly debates, but that can go overboard. But for the most part, you guys understand each other and y'all could be friends before anything. So you need to remember that. So when you get into a relationship, don't forget that friend first aspect because y'all end up finding yourselves wanting to find friends on your own end. And the friends that y'all find, it'd be like the same type of people. So y'all end up cheating on each other with the same kind of people that y'all align each other with. So you don't want to do that. You know what I'm saying? So understand that. Now, and with the Pisces, Pisces is going with the flow. So that's like putting some ice in a cup that's already room temperature. So you melt gradually. So Pisces know how to release you, know how to make you open gradually, you know, as a Scorpio. You know what I'm saying? So this you can learn a lot from Pisces. You can get into that'll play out in your life as them tapping you into your creativity and your imagination and things of that nature. So, Scorpios try not to be too much in your own world and too much into your own vibration. You know what I'm saying? Because it plays out. For an example, say you emotionally feel a certain way about a person, place, or thing. So when you go out into the world as water, you can take shape and form of the environment. But when you think so deeply about something, it creates an aura, a vibration. So even though you go out into the world and take a shape and form, aka play your part in the location or based upon how you relate to any people, places, and things, right? People still go get a sense of something there, like something's not right, or this person hiding something. It's not that you're actually hiding something, it's just that they catching the sense of you having the vibration of you deeply feeling a way about something on your own time. And if you have a deep feeling and expression about a certain person on your own time, when you get around that person may not be consciously aware of this, to sense that specifically, but they just gonna sense like, man, something not right when this person not around me. They may be in the astral realm sensing that you don't really like them, or sensing that you really like them, or sensing that you're constantly putting them. Now, it's one thing to think, that's in thought. But see, Scorpios had a tendency to put that in vibration, put that on emotions and feelings, and go deep into that. So you create all these realms of realities and feelings and worlds that and imaginations of being with this person or circumstances, situations that'll take place if you was around this person, place, or thing. So when you're doing that, you're creating worlds and making it heavy. So you're putting that in the universe. You're not just giving it simple thought. You're actually living this. You're actually in a bathtub or dreaming, or you're actually going in your day to day with these imaginations on your mind and actually adding emotions and feelings on them like you're actually living these things. So you have to be careful because that'll play out in your life as you being a creep in certain ways, or you being sneaky, or you know what I'm saying, or you being a creep, or you being a secret admirer to others, and being scared to actually express how you truly feel about somebody based upon that vulnerability. But that vulnerability, you created that yourself because you done went through all the imaginations in all the realms of realities on your own time of how someone would feel or wouldn't feel if that was to be seen, to the point that you don't know how that would be fit, how that would feel to that person. But you went so deep into the water where there's no illusion or shape or form down there that you think if you would express you will experience one of the realms of realities that you thought of yourself will be vulnerable. When really you never truly know how that person will feel. So you don't have to act secrety or act creepish on how you come at that person, place, or thing. You know what I'm saying? And you can learn that from an Aries also. Do that shit up front. Or you can learn that from a Pisces. Learn how to gradually do that shit. And not so direct like an Aries. Learn how to gradually and ease your way into doing that. and not just being lost in your world to the point that you never do that and you never experience it. And you end up being dark to the point that you end up being a person who wear all black all the time and shit like that. It plays out in so many different ways, man. Shit is deep. And then we go to Pisces. Pisces is mutable water, so it's going with the flow. So it's fluid. So it's able to take shape and form of all the shapes and forms of you want to be big mad or little mad. Pisces can do all that, but Pisces could get lost in that to the point that they become in their own illusion. So a lot of times they can appear as crazy to others. You know what I'm saying? In any way, shape, or form, they can appear as crazy because it's a person that's you so much into the flow that you created your own flow within the flow. So this will make Pisces like to close their eyes when everybody else got their eyes open, if everybody smoking or things of that nature. This will make Pisces like to understand everybody's emotions and feelings. So they like to relate to everybody's emotions and feelings, even if they don't relate to it. They like to figure out why not. So they like to put your emotions, they like to do something for you to put your emotions and feelings out there so they can see the shape and form of it so they can relate to it or not. So if you too quiet or too kind of secrety or too kind of dished off when you're around a Pisces is going to try to get that up out of you in some way, shape, or form. If it's a funny comedian like Pisces, they'll do it in that way. If it's an angry fighting like Pisces, they'll do it in that way. In some way, shape, or form, a Pisces is going to try to understand your shape and form because that's being dormant. That's like something being too deep or something being too far on the shore, on the land, or being too fiery. Something that's trying to evaporate too much and go into the atmosphere too much. You know what I'm saying? Pisces like, hold on. What the fuck is this shape and form? So Pisces gonna try to relate. And if Pisces can't find no middle ground to relate, the Pisces gonna separate and go its own flow. So the point is just like, man, nah, I just couldn't connect with this person. And that's like the key word that a Pisces would say. They just can't connect with someone. Or they just can't connect with something. You know what I'm saying? Or they just don't feel it. They just don't feel the vibe. That's the same thing. You can't connect. This shit runs deep. You know what I'm saying? Now when we talk about also Pisces, this is what makes them like to relate, and this is what makes them like to be a part of things. So they like to be a part of stuff. So anytime they experience some energy from a person, place, or thing that make them feel like they can't be a part of something, they'll lash out also. They'll be chaotic on your ass. So you don't want no Pisces to be chaotic on you because their limits is limitless. They don't see no boundaries or limits because when you look at it in an ocean, you can see common flow, right? You don't see no boundaries and limits within that shit. So you got to understand that kind of shit. But for the most part, when you're looking at a motherfucking Pisces, this will make them able to take creativity. Because look, when we look at creativity, dreams is imagination, right? And you can daydream or dream or bring your dreams in existence, whatever, or to sleep, but it's formulated with your imaginations, your magic world, your imagination. Now, in society, they try to separate everything with a duality, but it's really one and the same. But in this society, your imagination can be looked at in two ways. It can be looked at as creative or an illusion. So we know in this society, when you dream and have an imagination, if you put it out in a bad way, your imagination is going to be seen as an illusion. If you put it out in a good way, your dreams and imagination is going to be seen as creativity. You see what I'm saying? Now both of these is in the fantasy realm and in the spirit and astral realm. So all that accumulate with Pisces. So Pisces is going with the collective conscious collective flow. It's the ocean water. That's dealing with emotions and feelings and vibrations. So if Pisces know how to connect with the emotions, connect with all vibrations, then they know how to take the shapes and forms of all people emotionally due to all artistic matters. You know what I'm saying? So they know how to they know how to go with the flow and take the shape and form of all artistic matters. So when a piece of air come in, they know how to take the shape and form of that thought, aka when the wind blows. That subtleness, they sense the direction that air come from. So they sense where that information came from, but from an astral perspective. You see what I'm saying? Also, fire, that little bit of heat, when things is bubbling, they sense the first bubbling of it. So they sense when something is finna get out of control before it becomes out of control. This is what gives them wisdom and knowledge. You know what I'm saying? Because they're ruled by Jupiter also. They have wisdom and knowledge through experiences. You know what I'm saying? The experience of the astral realm. And they're also ruled by Neptune, which is dreams, illusions, creativity, and imagination. You know what I'm saying? Anytime a sense of earth coming in, they know the shape and form of it because they know what it's in. So they know the whole totality of the shape, the collective consciousness of the shape of it's in. So they know how to shape and formalize everything within it. So if you're in a society and you're a Pisces, you know how to take shapes and forms within music, being smart, being wise, preaching, teaching, or or just simply taking the shape and form of your environment. So you know how to play the role of everybody, the big baddie or the most nicest person. You got that ability. So you're here to take that try not to have no God complex, but you're here to take all that wide range of knowledge and here to formulate it in some type of way. Because you truly know there's no shape and form to it. And it's formless. So you here to create a broad shape and form. Like I said, all mutable signs come to a broad perspective of something. You know what I'm saying? Sagittarius come to a broad perspective of the fire, broad perspective of how everybody see and feel about things. Earth come to a broad perspective of the building, how the whole building look and how it's constructed, or how the whole shape and form of what we in look and how it's constructed from a detailed reality base. Air, Gemini, take the broad perspective of all the shapes and forms of the air that is consuming, but from a logical and thinking about it, but not actually being a part of it. So not actually being in the water, not actually being in the feelings, but but can think logically about it. Not actually being a part of the earth, but taking the shape and form of it. Logically knowing what it's here for, what's the stability of it. Not actually being in the fire, not actually being in your feelings and actually being a part of the vision, but actually can give it ideas and actually can make it scatter and make it be broad for others to see and things of that nature and help it out, help it flourish, help it spread. You know what I'm saying? But when we get to Pisces water, this is mutable water. So it's connected with the whole shape and form of the feelings and the emotions that we in. You know what I'm saying? So it can take the shape and form of everybody's feeling. So this would make Pisces good with music. Because they can put the words together to tap into your emotions and feelings. This vibration, what this means, this would make some poets. You know what I'm saying? What's the shape and form of this could be when it wasn't a shape and form? What's the shape and form of this when it wasn't a shape and form? What's the shape and form of this when it wasn't a shape and form? You see what I'm saying? That's how I was like doing. You know what I'm saying? So it's almost like even when you take the shape and form of your environment. Say you are Pisces and you around a bunch of other drug dealers, right? You kind of get the sense and the emotions and feelings of what it is to be a drug dealer. So you can relate to all drug dealers. So you're like, okay, I can do this. I see all the shapes and forms of what they're doing, so I can be that all in one. I can be that when it wasn't a form. So you're taking the totality of that form as if it ain't a form at all. You see what I'm saying? You seeing all the shapes and forms and being the totality of all them shapes and forms as if it wasn't a form at all. But you're taking the totality of that shape and form. So you could be the best of that shit. Saying people will support you. But yeah, that's just getting in deep to things, man. I could go in deeper than that, but I already see I'm talking overboard. Flight boss, bitch, you know, for sure. Damn.